saying.
We're now ready to begin the University of North Carolina press conference. We'll start with an opening statement from Coach Roy Williams.
I'm surprised so many people are still here. It's so late, but I'm ecstatic that I'm here still late, and my players, we were very happy and pleased that we're still playing. I think we caught Providence on a day where their shots did not go in nearly as much as they normally do. Ed Cooley is one of the great guys in the coaching profession, and I looked down there, started to walk down to him. He's a guy I really enjoy, and he's done a great job with Providence's program. So when I looked down there, started walking down, it's not a great feeling because I've been there. I'll be there again probably a lot of times. I hope a lot of times, because that means we're in the tournament. But I was really pleased with our guys in the first half. We were just out of sync a little bit, didn't do what we wanted to do, and yet we had a little run right before the half and got the lead. I didn't think that Bryce and Kennedy and Isaiah were moving very much inside for us to get the ball to them. I told the perimeter players I wanted them to focus on getting it in there, but I thought it was our big guys' problems because not getting moving enough to give us an open target. And then right before the half, as I said, we made a couple of stops and got some baskets, and I was disappointed in Bryce fouling the guy shooting a three-point shot, but he made only 2 of them, and we got in at half, and we still had the lead, and I challenged everybody to do all the little things that we'd talked to them about all year long. And in the second half, and it doesn't bother me if Bryce is looking at me. I've told him all the time I got the best peripheral vision on the team. I can even see him out of the back of my head. But in the second half, they scored the first 6 points of the half, and then we were really good. I thought Bryce scoring inside and rebounding, blocked some shots. I know he didn't have 8, but he only had 2 today. But I thought he was effective. And what it was in the second half, I got on Isaiah at half because he had 0 rebounds. Second half, he got 7. He was 5 for 5. Bryce was big for us. Joel, Justin, Marcus, I thought 5 guys in double figures. And then another thing I'll say is that Justin Jackson was really good defensively, really good. And yet you have to congratulate Chris. Chris Dunn has 29, and I thought we did a really good job on him. So that's how good they are. But these guys sitting up here were tough-minded those last 18 minutes of the second half, and they were really good.
All right, at this time, we'll take questions for the student athletes. Once again, questions for the student athletes only at this time. Start with Aaron.
Aaron Beard with the AP. This is for Justin. What do you take away, like Coach was saying about toughness in the second half, that you're playing a team, 2 guys that are scoring the way they are, but you guys just kind of stayed with it and eventually began to pull away?
Yeah, I mean, looking at the stat sheet, it doesn't look like we did much to them. But we tried to make everything as hard as we possibly could. I think the team did a really good job of rotating and just everything that Coach always tells us and teaches us on defense. So I think at the end of the day, we forced them into one shot and got out in transition, which really helped.
Go back here on our right.
Hey, Bryce. What was the competition like with Ben Bentel? I saw y'all, talking a little bit, having some friendly, competitive words. What was it like to play against him on the court, and what was it feeling like?
He's a very good player. I mean, essentially nobody really heard of him until this year, and I mean, he was he's essentially a guard. I mean, he just in a. All right, hold on. I mean, he's a very good player, man. I mean, he can really stretch the floor as a 5-man, and I mean, it was a very good matchup for all of us. I mean, it was kind of a different matchup for us because, I mean, he's a 5-man, and you don't really see a lot of 5-men running off screens and getting isolations like that. So, I mean, he's going to be a very good player in the future.
Other questions for the student athletes? Once, twice. Gentlemen, you're excused. Thank you very much.
Somebody asked Joel Berry a question.
Nah, they don't need it. They don't love Joel. It's all right.
Bring 3 guys down here.
Yeah. Go ahead, Joel. They got me in the locker room.
Yeah, Joel.
Can I sit here?
Joel, talk about your defensive effort tonight.
I think I did a pretty good job. I put emphasis on trying to help Justin out with Dunn. He was trying to get into the lane and try to score. And I think me and Marcus did a pretty good job of helping him out when he tried to drive the lane. I mean, I took a charge on him once, and Marcus helped out a lot too. So coming into the game, we just wanted to stop him. And 29 points, but he kind of got it when the game was already done with. So I think we did a pretty good job.
Right there, Casey.
Did the lateness of this game affect you guys at all coming into a 10 o'clock game?
Justin, could you answer that, please?
No. I mean, it definitely is a long time to lay in bed in the hotel room. But at the end of the day, Coach always says, no matter what time, where we're at, we still got to come out and play. But at the end of the day, we did come out a little slow. If you want to say that's what it is, that's not what I'm saying it is. But it was a pretty long day.
Bryce, could you answer that, please?
I mean, it did suck. It sucks playing at 9 o'clock. I'm being honest. It does suck playing at 9:40 at night when you're just sitting in a hotel room all day. You played 2 days ago. Justin even said it in the shooter. He's like, man, it feels like I haven't played in a week because we've been sitting around all day. We had breakfast at 11 and took a nap, watched basketball, went to shoot around, took another nap, went to pregame, took another nap, and it's like, why can't we just play a little bit earlier? But it's okay. We still came out and was ready to play.
It was longer for Justin. He roomed with Isaiah.
That's all he does.
So all they did was sleep all the time.
All he does is sleep.
All right, guys, you guys can go now.
You sure?
Yes.
Kirsch, can we leave?
Hey, I appreciate it, Kirsch.
Unless you want to stay up here and take my questions.
You got 10 minutes.
All right, I appreciate it.
So you know. We're trying to go home.
Yeah, I understand.
We'll start with Aaron over on the side.
Coach, you said you guys were really good the last 18 minutes. Is there a belief that you have in this group that, the toughness, the maturation, you're going to see it even in a game where it's tough like it was for the first 25 minutes?
Yes, Aaron, but I started appreciating this team even more at the end of the season because you think, we got beat up at Virginia. We had our chances and didn't play, and then everybody starts abandoning ship because we'd lost to Duke at home. We turned around and won a Syracuse game, which was a very tough game for us, senior night. And then we go to Duke and beat Duke at Duke. And that gave us a little more confidence, and we were better defensively at Duke, and we were sensational on the rebounding part of it, which are things that I probably preach more than anything else. And then we go up to the Washington for the ACC tournament in Pittsburgh. We're sort of meandering around out there, and then all of a sudden we get 6 straight stops, and we were good defensively in the second half. We were really good defensively against Notre Dame. We were really good defensively against Virginia. 2 nights ago, we got some stops right before the half again, but then it was that's probably not even right. I was trying to remember start of the second half. We came out and started the second half, and not only did we score, we got a bunch of defensive stops. So I've become even closer myself to having a greater appreciation for this team. And, after the first night here, everybody says, well, which North Carolina's going to show up? Hey, we were pretty good in the second half of that game, and the guys we were playing weren't chopped liver. And so I'm getting more and more confident with my team every day, and I always write 3 things down on the board, and today was the first time I've written this one down. I said, make our defense the biggest factor in the game, and we were pretty good.
Going way in the back.
Coach Williams, you had an extended chat with Chris Dunn at the end of the game. Do you mind sharing what you told him?
I'm sure every coach would say the same thing, but I just told him he's had a great, great career. I've enjoyed watching him when I watch their games. I watch their games because I like Ed so much. He's been an unbelievable performer, and I told him don't let this one game dictate how you feel about what you've accomplished.
Going back on our right.
Marilyn Payne, WRALSportsFan.com. I know that it shouldn't matter, but do you feel like as you've begun to appreciate your team more and national people haven't, you said yourself the other day you felt this team was underappreciated, has the team gained an edge or played with something more to prove in your mind?
No, I think they've played with an edge because I'm on their case all the time. My guys are very good students and they can read the newspaper, but most of them don't. Because why just read it to get upset kind of thing, but everybody's got their opinions. But I just think that we've had 91 practices, I think. It's either 90 or 91, and we've harped every day about getting better, getting better, getting better. And if we do get better every day, we'll be playing our best basketball at the end of the year. And I would probably think that we've played our best basketball the entire season these last couple of weeks. Now, is that going to transfer to, we play next weekend? I have no idea because they're 18, 19, 20, 21-year-olds, so I have no idea. But the appreciation that that I have for them is because they've earned it, and I've pushed and criticized and kicked and everything else all year long.
Go up front here on our right.
Corey Smith, North State Journal. Coach, looking at Bryce Johnson, his intensity, his personality that he has on the court, how much is that helping drive this team with the way that he's playing?
I'm sure it's helping. His play is helping, not just his intensity, because if you were to ask our guys on our team who's the most intense guy, Bryce would not get a vote. Okay, he's really intense when he blocks a shot and he goes into 12th row. He's really intense when he dunks it, and that usually comes because he's growling so hard. But he's gotten better defensively himself, and I think his play, particularly on the offensive end, and his play on the defensive end of two things, blocking shots and defensive rebounding, have been huge for our basketball team. And he's a comedian half the time, and but he's accomplished some big time things, and he's, like I said the other day, maybe more from start to finish, more improvement than any player I've ever coached.
Let's get Jeff against the curtain there, and then we'll get Barry.
Jeff.
Hey, Coach. Jeff Gravely, WRAL. It's a rarity for programs as elite as yours to get a chance to have guys play for 4 years. Discuss the value of having the odd couple now in times when you need to lean on them, like in the second half when they really started to take over.
Well, Jeff, we've played pretty doggone well the last 3 years. We won 75 games their freshman year, sophomore, and junior. That's not bad. But the NBA didn't tell any of those kids they're going to be a lottery pick. They didn't tell any of those kids they're going to be a first-round pick. So they came back because it was the smartest thing for them to do. They didn't have somebody tell them to come to the prom and I'll take you to the first dance. And so that's being said, it never hurt Tim Duncan to go to college for 4 years. It really didn't. And Tim was a Wake Forest guy. Probably got as much respect for him as anybody ever played at another ACC school. And he kept saying, why should I do tomorrow why should I do today what I can be more prepared to do tomorrow? So there's nothing wrong. But there's also nothing wrong with the kid leaving early. J.P. Tokoto, I didn't think he should have left early, but I tried to help him, and I tried to support him. I'm still supporting him. But I think every coach would tell you they want talent. And the second choice would be experience, okay? But if they had their choice of anything, it would be experienced talent. And I think with Bryce and Marcus, we're getting some of that level of play from them right now. Even though Marcus had those 2 turnovers early in the first half, and I said, come on, you're a big-time player. He said, I know I was just dumb for a couple of minutes, and that's what you appreciate about him. He never points the fingers at anybody else. He just plays and helps your team win.
Get Barry and then get Kip.
Okay.
So, Roy, can you identify what characteristic is different about this team than those last few years? Is it the experience?
Well, both. More experience, but Bryce is a better player. I mean, anybody that watches basketball, he wasn't as good as a freshman or as a sophomore or as a junior. He's gotten better and better and better. Joel Berry has come a long way from his freshman to his sophomore year. Justin Jackson's numbers don't look that much better shooting the ball, but he's a million times better defensively right now. Isaiah is better. So I think it's a little bit of both. I mean, it is experience, but it's also, we have some talent. I'm not saying that I didn't love them. I had to love them. Why did I offer them a scholarship? I'm just saying that last year the NBA wasn't beating their door down trying to get them to go. But it's those guys are pretty doggone good players, and they're more experienced and they're more focused than they've been the last couple of years too. I mean, we've last year we had Wisconsin 7 in the second half, and we turned it over 3 out of 4 possessions, and Wisconsin was pretty good. They played for the national championship. We had Duke. In both games we played them last year, we had a lead in the second half, but we didn't finish it off. So we weren't chopped liver last year, but everybody's gotten better.
Hand it forward to Kip.
Okay.
Yeah, Kip Coons for the Raleigh News and Observer. Royce, again tonight in key stretches of the second half, you go with the small lineup. How has that made you guys more versatile and just a better team?
I'll use that word there, Kip, has used it. It does make us more versatile. You think of Providence's lineup. They really didn't have a low-post player. And I wanted to play our low-post guys because that gives us an advantage of scoring inside. And early in the game, we weren't doing that. And they're harder to guard, zeros outside, 25s outside, Bento Bullock, Chris. I mean, they're hard to They're hard to guard out there. So we went small because of two things, a little bit of foul trouble and because it gave us better matchups. And I told the big guys before the game, I said, if you want to play more, you better produce, because if you're not producing offensively, you're not as good a matchup for us on the defensive end. And so we went small a little bit because of foul trouble, but more because we weren't scoring inside as much as we wanted to.
Go right
And
down.
it does make us more versatile. There's no question about it.
Brett Friedlander, Wilmington Star News. Roy, dating all the way back to the Duke game, really, you guys seem to have one or two big spurts that just kind of give you control of the game. Has it gotten to the point where this team kind of almost expects that to happen? And when you're on the bench, can you kind of feel something like that kind of building?
You know, I hope they don't expect it, because what I want to do is work as hard as they possibly can to make it happen every possession. And I'm not sitting over there trying to decide, you know, what's going to happen in the next few minutes. I try to decide what are our best matchups and, you know, what do we need to emphasize. But you guys, and you've been around me a long time, Brett, I very seldom look at the clock, because I don't want the score to tell me how we're playing. I look at the clock on the top of the board, because that tells me how much time's left in the game. But today I did look up. I told Steve we went up 50-41, and then we get the rebound and lose it, and then they score. And so that's one of the times that I looked at the clock. But I think that if you work at it all the time, well, I'll give you an example. Coach Wooden used to say the reason they pressed is because they're going to get a couple of spurts during the game, and it would win the game. If you win 8-2 or 10-0 a couple of times, that's usually going to determine the game. We don't press to do that, but we do play and try to keep attacking. I mean, on the board, the third thing I put was rebound, 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 attack, 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 and then I put 2 lines. And I say attack, 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 and they say under control. But we do have that mentality that we want to keep coming, keep coming. And some of our toughest games this year, the guys on the bench say, let's keep at it, let's keep at it, let's keep at it. And, you know, fortunately for us, we've been able to get a couple of good runs.
Any other questions? Can we go
Barry.
back to Barry?
Earlier this year, you were saying that the 2005 and 2009 teams had all these lottery picks. This team wasn't like that. But are you starting to get a sense that this team compares anyway, or are you not sure yet?
If you got to do it the next 2 weeks, you know, if you do it the next 2 weeks, then you can compare. But they're much different teams, much different teams. But it's a different game, and both those teams were extremely talented. I mean, 05 had 4 guys in the lottery, and 09 had 3 guys in the first round and 1 in the second round, and the guy in the second round's having a better career than the rest of them. You know, so they were extremely gifted, and they were focused. Both those teams were focused on one goal: winning a national championship. This team right now has been focused on being the best team they can possibly be, and we have some big-time dreams and goals, and you know, we've got an opportunity to see what's going to happen over the next couple of weeks.
Down here on the corner.
Okay.
Roy, it seemed like in the first few seconds of the first half, you had to yell at your team to wake up. What is it about this team that it's taken just a little bit of time to shake those jitters off?
I have no idea. You know, they're basketball players, and sometimes they just screw it up. You know, we came out in the second half, and, you know, somebody told me, he said, boy, whatever you told them at the half and two nights ago, hope you do it again. I did. And the other night we started out great, and the night they had a 6-0, so that's how well my pep talks are going. But, you know, I think what you have to do is give the other team credit. And, you know, you're playing against North Carolina, and that's a pretty big deal to a lot of guys, and so they're going to come out fired up. And sometimes we've matched it, and sometimes we haven't. Anybody else?
All right,
Thank you
Coach,
guys
thank you
very
very
much.
much.